In today's climate, nothing will make you a more accurate or confident shooter than Crimson Trace laser sighting systems. Get the immediate, decisive advantage of the world's only grip-integrated laser sights today. Shoot better. Stay safer. Crimson Trace.
This is Tom Gresham's Gun Talk, broadcasting nationwide. Call Tom now at 866-TALK-GUN, 866-825-5486 with your question, comment, or range report. Or email Tom at guntalk.com. Now, here's Tom Gresham.
All righty, let's talk about some guns. By the way, if you have any interest in it, just to let you know, we're about 5 weeks. The clock's ticking. As they say, when the clock rings, it's all over. About 5 weeks left. We'll be taking orders for the new GT20, the 10mm pistol made by Sig. It's basically their Sig P220 with all sorts of Gun Talk special stuff on it. We're only going to take orders until the end of March, April 1, if you prefer. And then it's done. You go to Dury's Guns, D-U-R-Y-S, Dury'sGuns.com. And you can order one, put in either deposit or place the whole order, whichever you prefer. I'm not going to go into all the details. So we'll do that in a future show, but it's all the stuff is there, the pictures. It's gorgeous. With any luck, knock on wood, we were supposed to have one in Thursday or Friday, and the weather in the Midwest screwed up the UPS shipment. So with any luck, tomorrow we get it. We'll take it out, take some pictures, shoot some video. We'll put those up for you. So, and by the way, following up on our last caller last hour, saying, where's the 22 ammo? I just went to that website I mentioned, gunbot.net, G-U-N-B-O-T.net, and they had several listed there. I clicked on one. There's a place right here. They've got 5,000 rounds of 40 grain, 22 rimfire for about 11 cents a round. So, I mean, I know that's stupid expensive compared to what it used to be, but that's what it is. 11 cents a round is not terrible right now. So there is ammo available. It's just hard to find. And frankly, you got to work for it a little bit more. You're not going to be able to walk into your local store and just pick it up. And I'm sorry, for those who have local stores, it's just ugly. It's not good these days on 22 ammo. I don't know what the answer is, honestly. I mean, I know what the problem is. We're buying it all up. I don't know what the answer is. Anyway, I know that a lot of you really were waiting for season 2 of First Person Defender, our TV, big quotes around TV series that's all online. It's kind of like House of Cards, the Kevin Spacey movie. It's not released on regular TV channels and networks. It is only online. We have it on YouTube. It's available. It's free. Go there right now. And it's First Person Defender season 2. We take people, put them into self-defense situations of some sort. They know that something's going to happen, but they don't know what's going to happen. And we're using simunitions, and we got good trainers working. And we had several people last year after the first season. By the way, the first season's available on DVD now. You can look at it for free, but if you want to take it home and have it on DVD, you can do that. ShopGuntalk.com is where you go for all of our DVDs. ShopGuntalk.com. So we had several people write us and say, what about somebody in a wheelchair? We go, well, that's such a good idea. We don't know. So we did that this year, and it has been one of the most commented on episodes of our show is a person in a wheelchair gets attacked. And joining me right now is Tommy Carnline. He is our designated guy in a wheelchair. Hey, Tommy, how are you?
I'm doing well, Tom. I appreciate the opportunity to call in today. I'm actually on our range, and it is very cold. So,
well, now, okay, here's the weird part. You're in Alexandria, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I'm down in Covington, and I was just looking at the temps. It's cold where you are. You know what it is here right now? It's 79 degrees.
Well, it's probably coming towards you because it's about 44 here, and we've got a wind. There's always a wind on our range, though, so it's kind of accustomed to it.
And for those who don't know, that means we are about 2.5 hour drive apart, and there's a 30-degree difference in the temp. So, the cold front's coming. Now, let's explain. First of all, tell them what you do for a living, Tommy.
Well, I'm a deputy sheriff with the Rapides Parish Sheriff's Office here in Alexandria. I've been a deputy sheriff now for 24, almost 25 years. I'm currently the public information officer for our agency, and I have just had the privilege of working for this agency for all these years and just really enjoy it.
All right, and you are in a wheelchair. We didn't make this up. How did you end up in a wheelchair? Tell them the story.
Well, this is the weird part about it all. The reason I'm in a wheelchair is from an accidental gunshot wound. When I was 15 years old, I was doing a trick with a .22 pistol, which I had unloaded previously, but unbeknownst to me, it had been reloaded by a family member, which it was my fault. I didn't check behind them. I didn't check the gun, and I cocked the gun, twirled it. It's a trick that I'd seen on some show, and when I twirled it, of course, my finger touched the trigger. It discharged the pistol, and the bullet hit me up in the collarbone area, severing my carotid artery, and, of course, spinning around in my body and paralyzing me from the chest down. It is a miracle that I'm alive. God has blessed me so much over the years, and it was kind of a weird thing to have that carotid artery clot, and it did. Excuse me.
Yeah, usually that does not happen.
That is correct. Like I say, it was a miracle. It was a miracle. So
okay, so you're in a wheelchair because you accidentally shot yourself, and then you go out and you talk to especially groups of youngsters, and you talk gun safety. And boy, I'll never tell you, when you talk about it and tell them what happened, you get their attention. It
really hits home. Again, I had the privilege of becoming a firearms or a hunter safety instructor here with my agency, and when I would teach these youngsters and adults, I would go into the story and, everybody sees me in a uniform or whatever, and they presume that I have been wounded in the line of duty. And I never want to take that honor away from someone else. So I make sure that they know right up front that my reason I'm in a wheelchair is not from a line of duty incident. And then when I tell them exactly what happened and stress to them, treating every firearm as if it is loaded, always double checking, it really hits home with them.
I guarantee you, and you've seen how we handle guns. We spent the day together doing the first person offender show, and it's, if you're not being overly cautious, you're not being cautious enough. Is that fair to say?
That is very, very fair to say. We see, trained professionals. We've had 2 accidental shootings on our range in the last 15 years, and it was from people just not adhering to basic safety measures. And luckily they weren't fatal. They weren't, didn't hurt them too bad. It was more of an embarrassment than anything. But you got to have your brain wired to your fingers, and you got to be vigilant in being safe. That is the most important thing.
Absolutely. Hey, Tommy, hold on a second here. I want to take a quick break, and to come back, we're going to tell them about what happened to you when you were attacked on the First Person Defender show. And let me tell you, if you haven't seen it, you want to go to YouTube, look us up there, GUNTALK TV or GUNTALK Media. You can see Tommy in his wheelchair getting attacked and how he handled that. It was eye-opening, I got to tell you. We'll be right back with more Gun Talk.
Brownells proudly celebrates 75 years of history and heritage as the world's first choice for firearms, accessories, ammunition, and gunsmithing tools. So whether you're a gunsmith in need of parts and supplies, a new shooter looking for the perfect holster, or a skilled competitor seeking the latest gear, Brownells has what you need. And best of all, every purchase comes with the industry's only forever satisfaction guarantee. Visit us at Brownells.com.
The .45 Auto, also known as the 1911, is the standard other defensive pistols are measured against. No matter what pistol you carry, techniques developed around the 1911 are vital. You know you need training, and you know your concealed carry class definitely was not training. Now Gun Talk presents an exciting DVD, Fighting with the 1911 with Tiger McKee. Tiger's unique training style will have you drawing, moving, shooting, and running your gun better, no matter what style pistol you prefer. At shopguntalk.com, you can order our DVDs of Tiger's Instruction. ShopGuntalk.com also has a 2-DVD set, including Concealed Carry 1. Get both for the information you know you need. This really is life and death. ShopGuntalk.com has DVDs, books, and other essential gear. ShopGuntalk.com. That's ShopGuntalk.com.
The Ruger SR45, a large caliber pistol with a trim, ergonomic profile. Like the popular Ruger SR9 and SR40, the SR45 is perfectly sized to be comfortable and controllable with a slim, ergonomic grip and narrow slide. It features an adjustable 3-dot sight system, Ruger's unique reversible back strap, an ambidextrous manual safety and magazine release, and built-in Picatinny rail. The Ruger SR45, another rugged, reliable firearm from Ruger.
All right, in the first-person defender series, we take people, put them into self-defense situations, we suit them up, we do simunitions. That's that, if you will, call it high-speed paintball, but it's restricted, for the most part, to law enforcement, military. There are some regular, non-law enforcement people who can get it. You have to be certified in it, and we had to do that. So we're certified simunitions instructors. That's how we're able to do this stuff. But we brought Tommy Carnline in. Tommy is with us right now. And Tommy, you've been in a wheelchair how long?
Since 1978. So let's see, that's about 36 years or so.
Okay, there you go. So, yep. And you knew what we were going to do. You knew we were going to put you into this situation. We're going to throw you into it. Rather than me explain what happened, why don't you explain how this thing all came about? How did it go down?
First, I want to thank you, Tom, and First Person Defender, for choosing me to do this. It was an honor and a privilege to get to do this. Early in my life, being in a wheelchair, I knew that I needed to learn how to protect myself because people, there are predators out there. And I thought it was neat that you named it Predator. But there are predators out there, and they look for prey. And prey is something that looks weak and not able to fend for itself. And so I studied that for years, and I learned that I needed to not look like prey. So I always roll in a way that I'm very aware of my surroundings. I got my head up, don't have your head down, looking around, being aware. And so that's what I've always taught myself to do. Well, when I became a deputy sheriff, of course, I started carrying a handgun, off-duty, concealed. There's a lot of my family that never even know if I'm armed or not. So I think that's very important, is if when you carry concealed, make sure it is concealed. But I learned to handle myself and to shoot from a wheelchair through instruction from my agency and some other people. So when I got the ability or got the chance to come on First Person Defender, I was confronted, the first part, with someone that basically I talked my way out of and didn't have to present a firearm or anything. I got pretty straight with him at the end, and he went on his way. There are many times in my regular day-to-day life that I am confronted with people, and I always offer to get them assistance by either calling local law enforcement or something of that nature. So I used that. I used my experiences of that, and I offered to get him, help. I'll call somebody for you. In the second scenario, it didn't quite go as well as he would have wanted it to. So, and then that's when I had to defend myself.
All right. Let me explain. First time around, you're basically getting out of your van. And one of the things we saw was that there are some times when you're particularly vulnerable, when you're getting the wheelchair out of the van and you're getting in the wheelchair. And then this guy comes up to you, comes up to you and hey, can you give me some money, or can you, I have flat tire or jumper cables. Basically, he's trying to get close to you, right?
Correct. Yes. He closed distance on me very quickly. And the thing about it is, being in all that gear, it also cuts down on your peripheral vision. So that was a stressor in itself. But I try to always park my vehicle in a way to where I have a full view of what's going on. But in this instance, the way the scenario played out, he came from back behind my vehicle. I never saw him until he was real close. So that was a problem.
Well, we're kind of tricky that way when we set these things up because we knew that you had training and, for somebody else it's going to be easier. For you, we kind of gave you some tough stuff. And then we threw in extra people and then a lady walks up to you and,
right,
there's a lot of stuff going on.
Most definitely. What's funny is the first two people that you had encounter me, I get that all the time. People say, hey, can I help you? Hey, do you need some help? And, I always tell them, oh, no, thank you, I've got it, or whatever. But that always happens. So, when this other guy came up on me, I wasn't sure what he was going to ask for, or if he needed help or whatever. But I let him get a little too close, and that's something that we're taught in law enforcement. We're taught, have a reactionary gap, and that's what everybody else should do, too, is you need to always create distance. You don't want them close enough to where they can grab you pretty quick. So if you see in the video, I'm always trying to back up and get away from him as much as possible.
We ought to talk about one of the things we did when we went to the range, because we do the simulations, then we go to the range and do live fire. We worked on the movement of drawing and not sweeping your legs. And yes, correct, you're in a wheelchair, but everybody else spends a good bit of the day sitting down somewhere, in an office, at home, especially in a car. And if they're not careful, they'll pull a gun out and actually point the muzzle or sweep their legs as they come. And so we worked on that.
That's correct. And Wes Doss, who is a friend of mine and I've known for several years, I was so excited to get to work with him, with y'all. He showed me a way of having to come around the front of my chair, not sweeping my lap or my legs, to get to the other side if I had to transition to shoot from my off side or from my left hand. So that was a very good piece of instruction, which I've actually used on my own shooting days. And so it's worked out very well.
Then second time around, we got to change it up a little bit. And we wanted to make sure that you got to the point where you were going to have to defend yourself. But you did something very interesting. Two things. One is we saw a lot of other people without your training talk and talk and talk and talk. In your case, when it came time to shoot, you shot. You didn't try to talk the guy down because once his gun, you see his gun, it's time to shoot.
Right.
And you were quick.
Well, that's again, that goes back to training. There comes a time where you can only talk so much, and action is quicker than reaction. And that's why you have to train. You don't have to be a quick draw, but you have to be smooth, and smooth equates to fast. And I knew, or I felt like this time it was going to be a lethal force situation. I didn't know what it was going to be. But when he made the statement, something like, you need to move on or you're going to give me your money or whatever, and he reached for that gun, that I knew immediately then I was going to have to defend myself. If not, he was going to shoot me. So that's when I drew and I fired 2 rounds. That's the way we're taught. We shoot controlled pairs, and I try to do that as quickly as possible. So it worked out well. It did.
The other thing you did something else that was interesting, is that you, at that point, you took control of the situation. There were other bystanders, and you put them all on the ground at that point because you didn't know who might be an accomplice. And you had the lady, and we've left out the fact that you grabbed this lady who was with you, snatched her up, shoved her around behind your wheelchair. You're moving your wheelchair with one hand to block this, and keep the bad guy off of her. The whole time you're doing this whole thing, and then you had her call 911 while you've got everybody else on the ground while you're sorting this whole thing out. Yes.
There's something, I've been looking at the comments on YouTube, and one of the things that I tell people is you need to always have a plan. My wife is with me a lot of times, and we have a plan. She walks on the left side of me to keep my gun side free. She knows that if we get into some type of situation, she's to go to cover, and she's to call 911, and she will give them a description of me and whatever. I needed to get the young lady out of the way. That was Sarah, or I'm sorry.
That was Sandy.
What was her name?
Sandy?
That's right. Yeah, Sandra. I needed to get her out of the way because she was actually in my field of fire. I was also afraid that he may grab her and use her as a hostage to get whatever he wanted from me. And honestly, I did not want that to happen. I hadn't got to shoot the pistol that I had that day that much, and I was afraid I would not be able to make a headshot because that's what I would probably have to take had he gotten her. So I wanted to get her out of my field of fire. I wanted to bring her behind me so he couldn't get to her, and that worked out well. So Tommy, I was really proud of that.
You did a great job, and you were thinking about 100 different things as it's going on. You could tell. And I'm just going to tell anybody that wants to see somebody who can really handle that situation, you got to go to our YouTube channel, GUNTALK Media, look for the First Person Defender Series 2, Season 2, and look up Tommy's scenario. Tommy, it was a pleasure working with you. You know, people don't know what they're going to get into, and you didn't know us, but I hope it worked out the way you liked.
It was great. It was some good training for me. You know, I've been blessed. I've been privileged to have a lot of great training over the years. And what y'all saw that day was a byproduct of the training that I have been given, either through my agency or through people that I have followed. And that is what it's all about. It's about training, and it's about having a plan. And, you know, in law enforcement, we hope and pray that we never have to shoot anyone. I think that's a concept that people don't understand. So we're going to do everything we can not to have to use lethal force on someone. But when it comes down to it, and that is our only alternative, then that's what we're going to do.
Well, you did a great job. It was a pleasure working with you, and I think we're going to have to do something again in the future, my friend. That worked out too well. Listen, I'm going to let you run. I appreciate you spending some time. You're literally out at the shooting range, so get back to shooting and having some fun. Tommy Carnline, thank you so much. It was great, seriously, great working with you. I'm telling you, people, go check this out. You want to see a guy who his head is in the right place. He is plugged in. You can learn so much from watching this. Just go to YouTube. It's First Person Defender, Season 2. They're all free. We've got 13 or 14 episodes there for you. It's really great. All right, open lines, 866-TALK-GUN.
Now broadcasting nationwide on radio, via satellite, and through downloads, iTunes, the GUNTALK app, and other podcast clients. You're listening to Gun Talk with Tom Gresham.
In such a hurry to do this. Just quit talking. I want to talk about guns. Okay, 866-TALK-GUN will get you in here. Jim called in. He wants to talk about 22 ammo. He's in Nebraska. Hey, Jim, how are you? Line 2, Jim is in Elwood, Nebraska.
Degrees? We have 12.
You got all 12 degrees, huh?
Yes, and the wind's blowing, so it's nice.
Oh, my gosh. It's nice.
I was just calling about the gentleman that was, talking about 22 ammo.
Right.
I have an FFL, and I order from Jerry's and Xander's and William Shooter Supply, and they don't have the inexpensive 22 ammo, like your Federal 711, your Wildcats, those type of things.
Right.
They don't have it. You can't get it, and that's a wholesaler.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you want to shoot, your more expensive ammunitions, your RWSs, your Elys, those types of ammos, you can get all you can afford.
Yeah, but you can't afford that much of it. Yeah,
that's right. I mean,
now, here's a question for you, and here's what I don't understand, how the whole distribution mechanism works. I'm sitting there looking at this GunBot website, gunbot.net, and there are several places that have 5,000 rounds of 22 ammo for 9 or 10 cents a round, Arms Corps or CCI Blazer or something, and then 5,000 rounds, 500 rounds. They don't have a lot of it, but they're at least getting some of it. So where the heck are they getting it?
I don't know, because I can't get it from the wholesaler. I mean, I have never asked for Arms Corps. I've never asked for Blazer. I mean, I don't have anybody that wants that stuff that's, that inexpensive. But,
well, I understand. I mean, this is the cheap stuff, but at the same time, it's the cheap stuff.
I realize that, and that's what people are running out of. Like I say, I can't get Federal 711, which a lot of people shoot. I can't get Winchester Wildcats, which a lot of people shoot, and that isn't the really cheap stuff.
No, I understand. And I don't know. I honestly, every time I ask the ammo makers, they say, "Look, we are making every single round we can make. It's all going out the door."
I don't know where it's going between the ammunition maker and the wholesaler.
Right.
I don't know where it's going between those because I can't get it at the wholesaler.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. We will look into that and see if we can get maybe an ammo company to come in here and say, okay, track it for us. Who do you ship it to, and then where's it go from that? We'll see if we can run it down, Jim. I appreciate the call. Jerry is with us on line 3 out of Arkansas. Hey, Jerry, you're up.
Yes, sir. I was listening and kind of brainstorming earlier. I was listening to Mike Seeklander talk to you, and you mentioned this Mall of America thing with, the jihadis. And it makes a very compelling argument for a concealed carry AR pistol.
Well, it's a lot of ammo.
Well, it's not necessarily the ammo. It's okay. All right. You got a flat shooting round. You're talking. I mean, malls are generally fairly wide open. Those large indoor malls. So you're looking at between maybe anywhere from 0 to 50 meters. All right. Okay. And so you have 20 round mags. You're about the size of a cell phone. You could carry maybe like a couple of 3 of those with you, and the sighting systems on ARs are quite mature. Your red dot sights, right? Until they figure out a way to, put them on or make them feasible for regular concealed carry pistols, or Arms Corps comes up with a high cap. What's that 22 they make in a 1911?
Oh, yeah. But let me ask you this question, is how are you going to carry your AR pistol concealed?
Okay, it's wintertime. You got an overcoat. You could sling it up over one shoulder to avoid sounding kind of like a sissy, but you kind of purse carry it. You can find a good 2.5-inch wide strap, kind of like a guitar strap with double hooks, and just latch it through and just let it hang.
Hey, here's another way to go. Who is making that? Oh, shoot. Black Hawk, the holster people. They have a tennis racket case for an AR. It looks like a case. You're carrying a tennis racket inside. Just saying. There's all kind of weird stuff out there. I'm not advocating, and I don't want people to think I am advocating taking an AR to you with you to the mall. But hey, however you want to carry, whatever you can conceal, as long as you are, and here's the deal: as long as you're competent with it, as long as you can make the shots. And remember, once again, even in a situation like that, the bad guys can just spray, right? You don't get to do that because you're a good guy. So you're responsible for every bullet that you send down range. You're responsible for everything it does, everything it hits until it stops moving. So you don't get to spray. Bad guys can do that because they don't care. Their idea is to hurt everybody. That's not our idea. So just food for thought there. Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate that. Tim's with us on line 1 out of Sacramento. Hello, Tim.
Hey, how are you doing, sir?
I am good.
Hey, so my question is this, Tom, is I'm looking at getting a concealed carry revolver. Lots of people are saying 38, 357. I like a little more heat on my round, so I looked at this 357. And then one of my buddies recently told me about this 327 Federal mag, and he says that it's a little bit less kick than the 357, but I can also get another round with a 6-round revolver or cylinder versus a 5-round cylinder with the 357. I don't know anything about it. I'm hoping you have some ideas or thoughts about that 327 round.
All right, the 327 Federal rounds, and it's basically a souped-up 32 is what it is. You can literally shoot 32 H&R in it. You can shoot 32 revolver cartridges in it, others. Having said that, it's a wonderful concept that did not take, and it's kind of hard to find guns for it, and it's going to be a lot harder to find ammo for it. And I got to tell you, if it's me, I'm going to go with either a 38 or 357 Magnum revolver, or There are a lot of semi-autos now that are just as small as that, and they're going to carry 1, 2, or 3 more rounds, and they're basically the same size as a J-frame. So a lot of thoughts out there, but I'm not sure I would advise anybody to go jump on the 327 Federal. You know what I would do if I were you? I would look around and see if you can find ammo for it. Go around to your local stores, do a little shopping, see how available the ammo is, and that may be the deciding factor for you, because I think what you're going to find is that it's not particularly available. So there you go. 866-TALK-GUN, that'll get you in here. Also, shoot me an email, tom@guntalk.com. That will take care of things. Be right back with more Gun Talk.
TopGunSupply.com carries a large selection of fine firearms and accessories. Get all the parts you need for your Sig Sauer, HK, and Glock pistols. Grips, screws, recoil springs, sights, barrels, magazines, holsters. The list goes on. Our knowledgeable sales staff, professional service, great prices, and super fast shipping are here to help you. Check us out today. TopGunSupply.com. TopGunSupply.com.
Are you looking for a place to shoot? The National Shooting Sports Foundation has a great website called wheretoshoot.org. It's the largest database of shooting ranges on the internet. It's also a great resource for shooters where you can find video tips, printable targets, and a lot more. Find it online at wheretoshoot.org. And while you're there, download their free iPhone app. That's wheretoshoot.org.
In the war on terror, fighting crime in the streets, in competition and homes around the world, one name in firearms stands out: Sig Sauer. Our pistols and rifles are renowned for their unfailing performance. This same commitment to excellence can be found in our line of SigTac accessories and the training offered by the Sig Sauer Academy. For unmatched quality, reliability, and innovation when it counts, choose Sig Sauer. Visit SigSauer.com today.
Inaccurate is just plain worthless. Doesn't matter if you're shooting for a national championship or just trying to beat your friend, you need accurate ammo. Nosler's match-grade handgun ammunition delivers. You get Nosler sporting handgun and custom competition bullets in Nosler head-stamped brass, loaded to the same strict tolerances as Nosler's match-grade rifle ammo. Handgun accuracy through match-grade ammo. Available in 9mm, 40, and 45. Visit Nosler.com.
We had this is an interesting email. Let's see, from John. He says, "Hey, you're talking about an AR-15 concealed. How about the FN? What is it? The 5.7? Not a bad idea. 20 rounds in a fairly small gun. The Kel-Tec, they've got the 22 Magnum. What is it called? PMR 30 rounds in that one, and that's a real, it's a handgun. It's not small, but it's a concealable handgun. Certainly a thought." Also had an email from a guy who says, "Hey, if these mall shooting ideas." He says he advises his concealed carry friends to get a concealed carry permit badge and wear it on a necklace, a neck chain or something, so that if you're in a shooting in a mall, that kind of deal, you could flip that out, and when the cops come in, they see you wearing that and they think you're a cop. Gee, I can't think of how many ways I don't want to do that, but that's just me, I guess. Chris is in Toledo, Ohio, on line 4. Hey, Chris, thank you for calling.
Hey, Tom, it's a pleasure. I used to read your dad all the time, too.
Oh, wonderful.
Great stuff. My dad raised me on that. Hey, I wanted to ask you a question about ammo, but real first off, I wanted to thank you for your interview with Tommy. I'm a small business owner, and everything he says I've taught my girlfriend is you always have to have a plan, you always have to pay attention, and don't be vulnerable. And that's that's some of the most basics you can follow right there.
Chris, let me jump in here just with one other thing, because we were talking during the break. When we do these first-person offender scenarios, we learn as much, probably we learn more than the people doing the scenario do, because they're overwhelmed and things are going on, and we get to watch it over and over as we edit the video. And here's the thing that we find. people have not thought this through. They have not made the decision ahead of time as to what they're going to do. So they're trying to analyze the situation and make a decision, and it puts them they're moving in slow motion. It's like they're running in mud, and they're always late. They're always, when they should be taking action, they're trying to figure out what's going on. You need to have played this scenario out in your head 100 times when you're at home, so that if this happens, if a guy pulls a gun, I am simply going to shoot him. Done. I don't have to analyze it. I don't have to wonder what's going on. If he pulls a gun on me, I'm going to shoot him immediately, instantly, right now. Then we'll sort out the rest. Because if you're trying to figure it out when it happens, it's going to be too late. I just had to jump in there, Chris, and I appreciate you doing that. Okay, go ahead, please.
No, that is a very big decision factor, and I think it's something that you're raised with. But, most responsible owners don't want to use their gun for that reason. That's the last thing we want to have to do.
I understand. None of us wants to do this, but if you make the decision to carry, you need to have gone there mentally so that you don't screw it up. And part of not screwing it up is being able to react properly and swiftly when you need to.
Yes. The other question, I just wanted to throw this out here for anybody that's listening for your opinion on it, is when you have a lot of ammunition retailers. I mean, you have Walmarts and all these guys. Why do we have private decisions on the amount of ammunition that could be sold in one purchase? And it's almost kind of creating the price rise and the availability.
It's a great question. I'll tell you exactly why they're doing it. Because if they don't say we're going to limit this to 1 or 2 boxes of ammo per customer, then the next person comes in will buy every box that's on the shelf. And then they've taken care of one customer, but they've irritated all their other customers. And you know what? And that one guy is either going to take it home and put it on the shelf at his house, along with the 500,000 rounds he already has there of 22 rimfire, or even more likely, he's going to turn around and take it to the gun show and triple the price and try to sell it there. And so your Walmarts and your Academy Sports and everybody else that's putting restrictions on this are saying, no, you're not going to use us as your wholesaler to go do this, because all you're doing is we're going to irritate our customers. So that's why they do it. Whether or not you agree with it, that's a whole different issue. Okay, I mean, that's the deal. All right, let me talk for a second about something here. You hear about the lady who was using, I assume it was the Flashbang brand, but it was a bra holster. She had a gun in her holster. She was adjusting it, leaning over, probably looking down at it, trying to figure it out. Shoots herself in the eye and kills herself. Can we talk again about proper holsters? Let's talk about where your gun is pointing at all times. Rule number 2, never point a gun at anything you're not willing to destroy. That includes parts of you, hands, breasts, things like that, eyes, heads. It also means you don't point a gun at other people. So let's talk for a second about, the Miami Vice type under the arm shoulder holster where the gun's pointing back behind you. Your gun is pointing at everybody all the time. If you do a 360, spin in one place, you pointed your gun at everybody. Really? Oh, didn't think of that. Yeah, I know. Front pocket holsters. When you sit down, where is your gun pointing? Either ahead of you at people sitting in front of you, or it is pointed down at your femoral artery, which when it blows out, you have about 90 seconds to say goodbye, because that's all you're going to do. You're going goodbye. Also, if you're trying to front pocket holster, do this for me. Try running across your front yard while you're drawing. Try to draw while you're running, because trust me, you better be running. You better be moving. 2 things. Your gun, in my view, should be on a belt, pointed down, maybe a back pocket holster for very small guns, pointed down. Now it's not pointed at anybody else. It's not pointed at you. And take very good care when you're putting on your holster, that you don't tilt the butt out and point the muzzle at yourself. Simple stuff. Rule number 2, people.
Just because we're wrapping up on the air doesn't mean we're done talking about guns. Stick around for the after show. It's our podcast-only version designed to include all the stuff we simply couldn't fit into a regular show. Call in now at 1-TOM-TALK-GUN. Now, back to Tom.
I just got an interesting email. John says that he cast his own bullets, his lead bullets, for his revolvers, and he's getting into it for the 45 ACP, and he said the way it's going, it's actually cheaper for him to shoot 44 and 45 revolver and 45 ACP than it is to shoot 22 rimfire. If you, of course, you have to assume you got a source for lead and you can cast your own bullets and do all that. Very interesting. Back in the old days when I was shooting competition, God, that's a long time ago, cast my own bullets, had a ball. It was fun. Hey, you get to melt metal. You get to melt lead and make bullets out of it. How cool is that? So, oh, goodness gracious. Line 3. Let's get to line 3. Shelley is with us out of California. Hi, Shelley.
Hello. How are you doing today?
I'm good. What's this story you have?
Well, I wanted to say we are a gun family, and since my daughters were young, we taught them to respect guns, know what guns can do, and always have a safety plan. And just recently, my oldest daughter is 23, is teaching an after-school program here locally, and as soon as she heard the gunshot, she got all the kids off the field. She got them into a locked room. Before anybody knew what was going on, she had already had them off the field and into a locked room, so they were safe. And then the police came, and then they locked down the school because there was gang activity. I guess they were shooting at each other on the street that the school was on. So I'm just saying, you always should have a plan and teach your kids what to do, when to do, and how quickly to do it.
So, but because she knew guns, she recognized the gunfire for what it was, and I'm guessing other people were still kind of looking around wondering what's happening.
Yeah, even the principal didn't know. They didn't know what was going on, so she already had the kids all secure before the cops showed up or anything. She had them off the field and in the classroom.
Well, what you're saying is what I was talking about. It's not even just as much having a plan as having thought about it over and over and over again. If this happens, I will do this other thing, and then so when it does happen, you don't have to come up with a plan. You just execute. You can immediately go into action. But that's terrific. I'm so glad that your daughter was able to do that, take care of those kids. Thank you, Shelley. Great call. Wow. George, line 2, Anchorage, Alaska. Hey, George.
Yeah, Tom, how you doing?
Good.
That's good. Well, I wondered, you were here in Wasilla for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I just heard on the news, it was about 12, after I dropped my wife off at church, and on the way home, that there was a lady in Wasilla was taking her 4-year-old out of the car. Her pistol dropped out of the holster and shot the little boy in the thigh, and the bullet lodged in the trim on the building. And I didn't know if you'd heard anything about this, or... I'm
looking at the story right now. I had not heard about it, but I'm looking at it even as we speak. So, yeah, I hit the 4-year-old just above the knee, it says, went through the boy's leg, lodged in the bullet. The youngster was transported to Anchorage for treatment. People, holsters are so important. How you carry your gun is so important. Purses are not great. Come on, they're not. A holster, just me now, belongs on a belt. And you should be able to do a somersault on the ground with your gun in your holster and not have it come out, okay? Tell you what, we'll pick this up. We'll talk a little bit more about it on the after show. In the meantime, do a safety review. How do you store it? How do you carry it? Is your holster secure? Is it ever pointed at anybody at any time? And I'm talking about for a microsecond. Has your gun ever pointed at anybody, okay? All 4 rules of gun safety. Review them, live them. It's a lifestyle, people. It's a lifestyle. Embrace it. Go out, shoot, be safe.